and being back home and starting the week with this topic that I have heard recently, and I thought I would address this in case some of you are going through this. So I had a chance to talk to one of humanitarian colleagues, and she was telling me about how she had been prioritizing her partner's career, and she had been following him for the last, I think, 7 or 8 years. I'm not sure um, exactly, but I think it was 7 or 8 years. And she was living in another continent with 3 children, and the children are still small. And she lately had been this feeling of she doesn't like where she is, she doesn't like what she's doing. She feels like she lost herself, and it all feels like overwhelming and um, like pressuring and feeling like she cannot really find the break, and everything feels like too much. And she also feels like she has lost everything on her career and there's no way she can recover it. And that is then creating pressure on her marriage, and her partner saying that you never seem to be happy about anything, and therefore she just feels like it's all doomed, nothing good can come out of it, right? And she feels in this space. And I was thinking that for maybe some of you who are in this situation, how best to start addressing it, or where you can start, basically, where it feels like there's really no way to go anywhere. It feels like a trap, basically, right? And what to do if you're trying to address it yourself, then here are the ways you can do it. But I would highly encourage you to seek out support. Whoever you trust, whoever you feel like can help you, or come coach with me, or coach with someone that you know in your vicinity, or whoever that can help you create a space where you can work through a lot of this. So, the way that I would suggest for you to look at it first is really what we need to help your brain understand that you are in charge of those emotions and those thoughts, instead of how they are all feeling like overwhelming you and like attacking you, right? So that's why the first thing first I would love for you to look at is how you can remove those judgments. Basically, you're having a lot of judgment about yourself, about your choices that you have made at certain point, right? Some of the choices may have been deciding to support the partner's career at some point, or prioritizing the children, or prioritizing other areas of your life. So those are the judgments that you're having about regret coming up, or how you've lost everything. So those are the judgments about yourself and about your choices. And then we need to have a look at those judgments to say, do you really want to keep judging those choices, right? Is that really useful thing to do? Because the more you keep judging yourself or your choices, the more those emotions will continue coming and overwhelming you. So that's why the first thing I would suggest is look at all of those judgments about yourself, about your choices of the past, and decide, do you really want to continue thinking these ways? Do you really want to continue judging yourself for those things of the past? Because the there is, I think, no upside of keep judging, and there is no upside of keep continuing in that vein. So therefore I would suggest have a look at, like, write down all of your thoughts about your choices of the past, and then decide, do you really want to keep doing it or not? So that way you will have this feeling of you being in charge and deciding over those judgments, instead of letting your brain just keep producing those random thoughts about the past, about how you did and what you did, and then you just try to, like, make a stop to those thoughts, right? And even if it doesn't work in the first place, it's okay. But awareness of how you are the one who keep judging yourself and how you are the one you can also keep like put a stop to it is such an important first step you can do. The same you can do about your about the people who are around you, especially like she was saying that I don't really like the people here where I am living now, or where I have been living now for however many long, right? Now think about it. Just like keep judging other people for how they are, how they behave, and what they do and don't do. Again, we can't really do anything about it if you think about it. Just because we keep judging them, just because we keep wanting them to be different, does not make any difference because other people get to behave the way they do. And therefore, decide again is do you really want to keep judging them for who they are and how they behave? Or you don't want to do that anymore because it's harming you. As the more you judge them, the more it keeps harming you by keep producing the emotions that you don't really like, right? And it just exacerbates your current situation even more, which you actually, again, don't want because exacerbation just makes like, like the wound that is already like bleeding, or, the analogy is right. The wound is already not healed, and then you keep adding other unnecessary irritations to make it even more exacerbated. It's very not useful. So that's why you can remove that as well by deciding, do I really want to keep wanting them to be different than they already are? Or I just let them be who they are, right? Because I have no control over how they behave. And I just focus on myself, on my situation. And then the third one, the judgment that I would love for you to look at it and also decide to do something about it, is the part about the marriage or how your partner is saying or what he or she is saying and how you want to react to it. Because the again, because when we think that we if we judge other people like our partner for how they shouldn't be saying this, how they shouldn't be commenting this way, right? I think what we're really saying is we really want to be supported in that moment and we don't feel that support. And instead of like communicating that this is what we want from the partner, we just fill it with judgment of the partner of how they should have been this way and they're not, and all of this. But instead, if we remove those judgments about the partner, about how they're not supporting, but instead just come out and say that this is what I'm needing from you now, this is what I really want to hear, or this is how I want to be supported in these moments because I'm having a hard time or because I'm going through these hard times, is much better use of our energy and time than keep expecting things and without really communicating. But let's say that if you did communicate and the partner is not giving the support that you think you need, then you can also decide, do you want to get support from someone else, right? And then once you have a more neutral, or at least more uh, like space and clarity for you to look at what is it that you're really wanting to do, then you can of course later have a look at um, how to communicate with the partner, or what conversations to have with the partner. Because from this place of very judgmental, from this place of everything is not right and I got lost and all of these things, I think it's not really useful, or it's not really constructive to have a conversation with the partner. So once you remove those judgments about yourself, about the people around you, and about the partner, and then once you have like at least cleared yourself up a bit of that overwhelm, cleared yourself up a bit, and created this space of a bit of a peace within you, right? Of you saying, okay, I keep judging these people and myself, and because of keep judging them and myself, I keep having this miserable time, and I don't want to have that time, right? And once you like feel like you are in charge of now deciding and prioritizing what to do, or prioritizing yourself or your desires, prioritizing the conversation with the partner, prioritizing the children, so then you can like have this more of a loving place, more of this feeling in charge place. And from that place, then you can have a conversation with the partner about how you want to prioritize this area or this area or this area. And here are the ways that you will be prioritizing yourself, your desires, and here are the support you need from the partner. Here are the support you need from other people. And then you feel more like powerful, you feel more empowered to then decide what to do and how to do things, right? So that's why the removing of the judgment is so key. And another way that you can also remove judgment is by not using such strong terminologies like I got lost or I lost myself. And I think these are like such strong terms that makes us feel so much um, powerless. Like we feel like we don't really have any agency, or we feel like we don't really have any say in the matter, or we feel like we just um, I think at least check with yourself for yourself how you feel when when you think I lost myself or I got lost and all of these things, and then decide, do I you really want to keep that narrative for yourself, or you just be like stating the situation in a more a neutral way of, for instance, I haven't been prioritizing my desires. I haven't been prioritizing my career or what I really want to do in life because I was prioritizing these other areas of my life. And now it is time to prioritize myself or my desires, right? That way, then you can really start looking at how do you want to do that and what are the ways you can do that instead of using those very um, very strong wording that I think again exacerbate our perception of the world, exacerbate our perception of who we are and what we can do, and therefore I would suggest not to use those terms. And another way that you can also look at this situation to say, okay, I now know what it looks like or how it looks like when I haven't prioritized myself for so long, and I will no longer do that, right? I will no longer um, allow myself to just keep suppressing my feelings, to keep suppressing my desires, because I know where it leads me to, and I will no longer tolerate to delay what I really want to do, or I will be communicating what I really want to do in a clear way with the person with whom I'm sharing my life, so that we can find a way that I prioritize what I really want as well as my partner does, and we find a solution together, right? Because I think these are the strong emotions of overwhelm, strong emotions of feeling like we got lost, feeling like we don't really know where we are and how our lives are going to be. These strong emotions of regret as well are showing us how it's important that we always look at what our desires and what our wants are and what we really want to achieve in life, that they cannot be neglected, they cannot be suppressed at the expense of prioritizing someone else, right? Prioritizing our children or prioritizing other people's careers. And even though we all do that with great intentions, but it's, I think, just a great indicator to show to us that we can no longer tolerate being in the situation of disregarding what we really want or dismissing our deep, deep truths in the interest or in the favor of other people's. and recognizing that our emotions are so strong in showing us how we are just at this point where we really want to and we really should prioritize what's important for us as well as what's important for our partners and for our children and work those things out. I think recognizing that we have the ability to do that, we have the power to do that, and we have all the um, communication skills or all the other skills necessary for us to have that conversation honestly, but also the ability to remove those judgments about ourselves, about other people, about our partners, remove them so that we can have this cleaner space within us, right? More organized space within us, more empowered space within us to then have that conversation where we say, okay, this is how I would like to do it because I no longer want to be in this space or place of ignoring my desires, ignoring what I really want, and how are we going to make it work? And if the partner is not ready to make it work, or if the partner is having other career priorities, then else also deciding what do we then decide to do with that information that we have at hand, instead of just going in to the place of okay, it seems like I can't do anything about it, and I just feel doomed, or I feel like I'm lost, and instead of going to that place, but just even if having whatever the information we have from the partner, then deciding how we want to move on with this information and what are we going to do about that, right? And that I think the allowing ourselves to have that powerful place or powerful space to choose space where we can create different options for ourselves and choose from. I think that's what we really need, instead of just being under the influence of our emotions, keep being under the influence of our thoughts and judgments, and then feeling like we can't really do anything about it, because that's not a useful place to be, and that's just keeps exacerbating and just perpetuating the feeling of powerlessness. So that's why, if we don't want to do that, then to wrap up, A, remove the judgments about yourself, about your choices, about the partner, about the people around you. And then once you clear that out, then decide how are you going to prioritize what you really want for yourself, the way that you have done for other people and for your children. And how are you going to do that? And what are the ways you're going to do that? What are the small steps and the big steps you can take? Even if you don't know the long term, it's fine. Let's start with some small steps of communicating what you want, how you want it, what are the time frames of you wanting it, how you will not be delaying it, how you will not be any longer dismissing or disregarding your true desires. This is where you can start. And everything else, you will create the path for yourself. So, my dears, if you want to get coaching on this, I would love to invite you coach with me, and or any other topics of transitioning or humanitarians in general. So I'm so honored and grateful for all your trust. And for those of you who are wanting to come and coach with me, message me or email me or go to my website, salormonova.com. Have an amazing week, and I will speak to you very soon.